Black History Month has a lot of pieces. This one is about a young man born into circumstances that could have sealed the fate of crime and misery. But he ended up writing his own story and making his own history in the process. It felt like this a lot. Tommy Watson grew up in Denver. He was the child of crime-filled parents.
You know, unfortunately, Mike, I grew up with parents who were drug addicts and shoplifters who were arrested 121 times by the time I finished high school and before I attended the University of Minnesota. So as a kid, Mike, I spent a lot of time in foster homes, crisis centers, motel rooms, being homeless.
He got help and got a scholarship to the University of Minnesota, where he played running back.
They had never had an athlete come here in my circumstance. So I got here, my mom was in prison, my dad was in prison, my little brother was in prison. I lived in almost 30 different locations back home in Denver, had no home address, and really came to University of Minnesota, hoping to go to NFL, but ended up getting injured.
But his life was just getting started. He was an elementary school principal, then went out on his own, got his doctorate, and again beat the odds.
Everyone loves hearing stories of people who beat the odds and overcome obstacles.
He's made a pilot project for a television show on his life.
You want to know how to rise above challenges and enjoy being inspired and motivated.
Because he understands what it's like to live under the poverty line.
Yeah, and that's tough right there, though. But it's much different when you live in a motel room and you don't have any resources, and you don't have a school bus coming to get you there, and you're not getting government assistance, and you're being looked down if someone knew where you lived at. No one knows your telephone number. No one knows your address.
So he speaks, and he has a podcast with a message to young African Americans in particular.
You know, I tell them you got to keep hope alive. You know, despite all the challenges we have gone through, we have been in this country for 400 years, and we're still standing.
What message do you give the African American community today?
But the biggest thing, Mike, is really having hope. You know, and the acronym I like having for hope is having only positive expectations. You got to have expectation that in the end you're going to win, because the moment you start thinking you're going to lose, that's exactly what becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in your life. So we got to keep believing, keep striving.
Based in Charlotte, North Carolina, Tommy Watson.